to Journey Church's Teacher Talk. I'm Steph and this is Sean.
Yeah.
We're walking through the Bible in 30 days and we're on chapter 27, the doctrine of sin.
The doctrine of sin. How interesting to describe the doctrine of sin as one of the 10 great doctrines of the Bible.
Right, it's kind of a little...
Not sure if I was writing my own list of these that I would actually include this one, but it's important. It's important, but I'm not sure if it's top 10 important. So nonetheless, let's get into this. So friends, you'll see in your books, you'll see some definitions of things like sin is any lack of conformity to the moral perfection of God. True. Feels a little doomy to me, but it's okay. I'm going to come back to that in a second. The separation of Adam and Eve from God in the garden was because of original sin. Absolutely true. No question. Let's see a couple of these others. Corruption. Mankind has, as a whole, was corrupted by the original fall. Yes. Because man's internal nature has been corrupted by sin, he cannot keep from committing personal sins. Is that true? Or is that true before we know Jesus?
Right.
And so, friends, this is where, and we're only going to spend just a minute or so today on this particular subject, but this is where you want to really dig into the scriptures and see the totality of what's here. And I'll give you, for instance, just to kind of whet your appetite on this subject, because if you feel like you're a sinner who's always going to sin, then you'll sin by faith. But if we enact scriptures like Romans 6, where it says, reckon yourselves dead to sin, but alive to God in Christ Jesus, then we're offered an opportunity to live on the other side of that nature and actually live wholeheartedly towards God. Are we going to miss the mark sometimes? Yes. Because we still have a flesh about us. We still have fleshly mindsets that are being renewed by the day. But even the word sin in the New Testament is the word hamartia, that actually means missing the mark. So it means you tried, but you just didn't get it. And so, but thank God his blood is still enough, his grace is still enough to really continue to walk forward and to move forward. So, we want you to remember as you're studying these things, don't allow yourself to become sin conscious, but become righteousness conscious, because that's really who you are.
Yes.
That's really who we are.
Yeah, right.
Steph?
I mean, and who doesn't respond better to positive reinforcement, right? I mean, like that's basic, psychology or whatever, right?
Yes.
But I think really, do I want my focus to be on sin or do I want my focus to be on God, right?
Yes.
And when we shift that perspective, we see that, it's the flip side of that. And that's really what we're called to.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not just that we never want to sin again, right?
Right.
Like we don't want to sin.
Right.
That's, of course. But we're really called to then do so much more on the other side of that, right? Yeah. And so just a little perspective.
And friends, there's so many scriptures on this subject that you can kind of dig into. So visit Galatians 5. So it's somewhere around verse 14 or 19 where Paul says, if you are led by the Spirit, you won't carry out the desire of the flesh.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a twofer. So for somebody who's trying to avoid sin,
yeah.
You want to live led by the Spirit anyway. So you live led by the Spirit, you start exhibiting the fruits of the Spirit, and you don't commit the works of the flesh because of that.
Right. What are you filling up on?
That's the type of mindset to really have when you're approaching this subject.
Yeah, so good. If you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. May you delight in his face as you delight in his word, and we will see you tomorrow.